Whoa. 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 It's the illusion reporting from somewhere on Spaceship Earth for another edition of Sober Wednesday, the hour dedicated to those who suffer so that we can offer a solution. We love solutions. There are solutions out there. No problem is insurmountable. Just remove the victim narrative, and you too can have a new experience. With that said, so this hour is dedicated to those who suffer so that we can provide a solution to those who suffer. For those who are not suffering, who have solution, please feel free to get busy into the chat. And for those who are voyeurs and may not be suffering and may not have a solution, please keep the chat free for those who do suffer, who do have a solution. And this isn't our normal YouTube thing. This is for like, so people don't kill themselves, or those who want to drink, don't want to drink, or any of these types of things. So I am of the alcoholic persuasion with a little bit of drug addiction and self-obsession mixed in there, right? And so I generally open it up with the serenity prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. The old wisdom to know the difference. The whammy card. Brendo, thank you for the support. The wisdom to know the difference. Oh boy. That is the truth. So I generally read how it works from the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, though this is not an AA meeting. This is not affiliated with AA. And alcohol is not really what the problem is. It's anything that's blocking you from a abundant spiritual relationship with the God of your understanding that's getting in the way. So that could be suicidal thoughts, that could be mental illness, that could be alcoholism, that could be drugs, that could be codependency, sex addiction, bad relationships, gambling, overeating. The list goes on and on and on, dude. So anything that's blocking you from having a joyous experience with God, this is the template of how it works. So again, realize that when we refer to alcoholism, we refer to a state of mind, and it's really not what we're putting into our body. It's why we put things into our body. So with that said, let me read how it works from the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. Chapter 5, how it works. Rarely have we seen a person fail who has thoroughly followed our path. Those who do not recover are people who cannot or will not completely give themselves to the simple program. Usually men and women who are constitutionally incapable of being honest with themselves. There are such unfortunates. They're not at fault. They seem to have been born that way. They are naturally incapable of grasping and developing a manner of living which demands rigorous honesty. Their chances are less than average. There are those, too, who suffer from grave emotional and mental disorders. But many of them do recover if they have the capacity to be honest. Our stories disclose in a general way what we used to be like, what happened, and what we are like now. If you've decided you want what we have and are willing to go to any length to get it, then you're ready to take certain steps. But some of these we balked. We thought we could find an easier, softer way, but we could not. With all the earnestness at our command, we beg of you to be fearless and thorough from the very start. Some of us have tried to hold on to our old ideas, and the result was nil until we let go absolutely. Remember that we deal with alcohol, cunning, baffling, powerful. Without help, it is too much for us. But there is one who is all power. That one is God. May you find him now. Half measures availed us nothing. We stood at the turning point. We asked his protection and care with complete abandon. Here are the steps we took, which are suggested as a program of recovery. 1, We admitted we were powerless over alcohol, that our lives had become unmanageable. 2, came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. 3, made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood him. 4, made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. 5, admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. 6, we're entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. 7, humbly asked him to remove our shortcomings. 8, made a list of all persons we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. 9, made direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. 10, continued to take personal inventory when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. 11, sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood him, praying only knowledge for his will for us and the power to carry that out. 12, having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we try to carry this message to alcoholics and to practice these principles in all of our affairs. Many of us exclaimed, "What an order! I cannot go through with it." Do not be discouraged. No one among us has been able to maintain anything like perfect adherence to these principles. We are not saints. The point is, we are willing to grow along spiritual lines. The principles we have set down are guides to progress. We claim spiritual progress rather than spiritual perfection. Our description of the alcoholic, the chapter to the agnostic, and our personal adventures before and after make clear 3 pertinent ideas. A, that we were alcoholic and could not manage our own lives. B, that probably no human power could have relieved our alcoholism. And C, that God could and would if he were sought. Oh, that's fantastic. God could and would if he were sought. Like, could and would if he were sought. Like, so there's that if right there. You gotta seek it, baby. You gotta seek it. How's everyone doing out there? How is everybody doing out there? We got the before we say some hellos, we got Jane. Let's see who we got in here. We got Sasquatch Mind Control, BW, all is well. Tim Hortis, Serge, Jane, Leggy, Alexander, Symmetrical Pattern, BB. Hey, Jeanette, Andrew, Ozzy, Josh, Hedgy, Kimmy. Good evening. We got Marvin in here holding down the fort. And Sean Bond, and of course, Charlie is here, a regular for a long time on this channel, dude. And could have good what could would he were sought? Wise words. Could God would if he were sought? Yeah. J. Roy, hey, protagonist against Media Maniac, dude, and Grateful Ed. Hello. So it's interesting. I had a pretty radical conversation on 3, 4, 5 days ago with one of us. Someone who watches Sober Wednesday called me up, and older gentleman, and he told me that this has actually been like his lifeline. That's my word. Has helped him out a bunch, dude, and it's kind of been a focal point of his week. And I've talked to a couple other people recently who said that this has actually been of service to their journey in sobriety or keeping in the game here down on Spaceship Earth. And it's very humbling. It really is humbling. It's humbling to hear that, right? Because it's but for the grace of God go I. It's yeah, I just got lucky because I was willing. I don't know why I was willing. I'm not that guy, but I guess I am that guy. That's the we don't know what, but I think it because I never really been into the victim narrative, and I got trapped into the victim narrative, right? But when it came time to get sober, I didn't do a lot of like, oh, but and poor me and like I can't. And I was just like, what are we doing? And I think that's a huge component of it. Is like I was, my friend Pat, dude, who does his Instagram thing, which inspired me to start this whole thing. Is he had put stuff on his Instagram, and it was someone calling him going, I just want to get like sober, and there's no treatment, AA and blah, blah, blah. And and all you could really hear was this victim consciousness of like, I try and it's not my fault. I keep trying. And it's like, I just want to like let anyone know that like sobriety, it doesn't cost you anything to get sober. I mean, you might need an actual like legitimate detox if you're super gnarly benzos or super gnarly on the alcohol. Like, yeah, like that might require some medical help, but that medical help can be attained for free if you are willing to let people help you. And but again, as I've noticed there, like again, it just reminds me that there's a victim consciousness why, and it's a lot of people view getting sober as my problem or somebody else's problem. No, it's your problem. And if you're not willing to do what needs to be done, you're gonna remain loaded, miserable, unhappy, and loaded, dude, or suicidal, or overweight, or in a bad relationship, or whatever it may be, or too skinny, as the case may be. So I just want to let you know that it it doesn't matter. It's not a money issue. Like I think a lot of people have been broadcast this message that I need to go to rehab. I need to go to sober living. I need to go to a treatment facility. I need some sort of facility. No, what you need is to have a willingness, right? Just a willingness. Like, do you understand that this book was about people that were they're due to die, dude. That are due to die, dude. And at some of these we balked. We thought we could find an easier, softer way. That's what that is. Is I want to go to treatment so I can get some pills for the anxiety, and I'm not used to having the little chain around there, so excuse the fidgeting. And all of that stuff. But we could not, with the earnestness at our command, with all the earnestness at our command, we beg of the people that are sober, beg of you who is loaded, who wants help, to be fearless, right? And what is fearless? You're not putting parameters on there. You're not putting, I got to be in rehab. AA doesn't work. This doesn't work. But blah, 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 blah. You're being fearless and thorough from the very start, dude. Some of us have tried to hold on to our old ideas, and the result was nil until we let go. Absolutely. See, the key to getting sober is to let go, is to stop fighting it, dude. To stop fighting everything and be like, what do you got for me? And if you can do that is free. That thought alone is free. And it's given freely by a God that you may not know yet, by a spiritual power you may not know yet. But that's all it takes. The minute you put the but in there, I want to get sober, but you're doomed. You've already negated your want to get sober. So the reason I'm saying this is getting sober is like the easiest, hardest thing you'll ever have to do. If you're willing and you want it, you can have it, man. But you have to be fearless from the very beginning, dude. You have to be willing to take the leap, man. And I just want you to know it's for fun and for free. So back to where I was kind of going is so I'm humbled by it, that how many people actually use this Sober Wednesday thing. Yeah, like, we don't get a lot of people tune in live, but people watch it, right? And I just want to put this out there is I would love anyone who wants to come share their story to come on and be a guest. And if you don't want your face seen, we can do the black screen and anonymize it. Like, but I think moving forward, it'd be cool if some people chimed in and shared their experience, strength of hope. It would be good for me too, because, I know my story. I've heard my story. I know my story, dude. And I'm more than willing to share my story, but I don't really know anymore what I've shared versus what I haven't. And I got this email that might take full priority. Okay. All right. And okay. And bam. Okay. Boom. All right. Please open the okay. All right. So we're good. I gotta do the thing here. So again, I'm just putting that out there for anyone who would like to come and share what it is that your experience, strength, and hope would be. And it doesn't have to be about drugs and alcohol. It can literally be like whatever getting between you and God, right? Whatever is getting between you and God. So with that said, here we are. So where are we going with this tonight? Like I'm pretty fired up. I just went for a little skate. I'm like life's moving in a really positive way right now. And so what is like maybe we'll do a little bit of like sober Wednesday AMA, right? Like what do you guys want to know about? What like you kind of those of you who've been around, you kind of know where I'm at with a lot of this stuff. So you can ask me anything you want. And those that are new, like what do you need to know that I could possibly inform you on? So that's I think I'm just gonna open up the floor to you, the listening audience, to guide this conversation and get me fired up, dude. Because I'll tell you what, man, being sober does yeah, that's not what we're here for. Um okay, I guess what I'm getting at more is not like this isn't like this is more about like to help people. Like I guess that's what I'm at is like thoughts on marijuana. That's almost political, dude. That's something else. Ancient religions, that's not really for here either, because this is not about that either. It's a God of your understanding. So, how do you know if it's a problem? Okay, that's an interesting question. How do you know if you have a problem? And whatever that may be. I think it's kind of one of those weird things as the answers in the question. If you're sitting there and you're looking at your sitting there in your day and you're like, is this a problem? It's probably a problem. Is this porn a problem? Are these all these cookies a problem? Is this 12 pack of beer a problem? Is this pile of cocaine a problem? Is this person in my bed a problem? Odds are that question alone means it's a problem. Because if it's not a problem, you don't ask that question, right? Like I don't like think about it like that is when something's not a problem, do you walk around at thinking, is this a problem? And again, things can be, I get it, dude. You could be walking around with an 8 ball in your pocket, finger popping, and not think it's a problem. And for all intents and purposes, maybe it's not a problem. Look, man, plenty of people do what they do, and it's not a problem. And good for them. So, again, is the thing really comes down to, are you content with your life as it is right now? And if you sit there and you go, yeah, I'm pretty content with my life, but well, what's that? But I eat too much ice cream. I sleep with too many weird people. I do this, I do that, and I'm not as fulfilled and doing what I really need to be doing. Then you probably have a problem. Now, how serious is the problem? That's a deeper question on that thing, right? Like how serious is a problem? And again, it becomes this thing where that's where you get to dig a little bit, leave, because you could just have a problem and it's really not that much of a problem. Like for me, like sugar's like a problem in my life. I struggle with sugar. Like, why is it a problem? Well, I'll get the candida in my fingernail. It makes me depressed. It makes me sluggish. It's an inflammatory. There's a lot of reasons why it's a problem. They're more subtle. They're more subtle than me puking on myself. They're more subtle than winding up in the back of a police car because I smashed in my car or something. They're more subtle than, a lot of these things. But again, is I think that one of the things that we're gifted in this life, one of the discernments, what God has given us, is this ability to sort of be like, yeah, that's a problem. And again, if it's not a problem, you're not asking if it's a problem, so it's sort of a moot point. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's sort of like if a tree falls in the woods and there's no one there to hear it, does it make a sound? It's very similar to that. If you're walking around in your life and you don't think you have a problem, you don't have a problem by just the very nature of it. So that gets a little bit philosophical right there, but I think that if you're debating whether something's a problem in your life, you should probably dig deeper and ask yourself some very hard questions about what kind of life you want to lead, and if this is blocking you from having an abundant, fulfilling life, man. And with that said, Surge, thank you for the support. Been very Hiroshima, Nagasaki lately, seeking conflict and praying for mushroom clouds. Need that illusion medicine to keep me chill. Thank you. All right. Well, look, man, is again, is what is anger, right? What is that? And from my own experience, I don't know what your experience is, but my own experience is when I'm in that state of being, it's because I'm not connected with God, right? And so when I'm not connected with God, all this is hectic down here. This is crazy town. And again, it's not really what's going on, because sometimes it can be crazy town and I'm fully connected with God and it's like water off a duck. And other times it's all going really, really well for me and I'm a madman. So again, I think that it has to do with your connection with God. So again, yeah, if you're again is praying for the doom and gloom, dude, it serves a purpose, right? It validates the reason you're not connected with God, dude. And so again, it's like, imagine going to a loving, kind, beautiful God and asking for negativity. God's like, is that really what you want? Like, all right, man, like, here, have a cup of that, dude, and see where it gets you. So I think again is it's really about what are you really mad about inside of yourself? Because whatever it is on the outside that you're tripping on isn't really the problem. That's just sort of the flashing red light. It's not the person you're yelling at that you're mad at. It's something way before that got you already into a state of being where you manifested a person that needed to be yelled at, dude. Whether they needed to or didn't is irrelevant. But what I'm saying is part of that. Why are we angry and what's going on is we're disconnected from God, but we didn't just magically disconnect from God. Odds are we disconnected from God in our not so distant past. It could have been 5 minutes before, it could have been 5 days before. And so part of that thing to do is, like, again, pause when agitated, right? Pause. Why am I getting mad? Well, what is it? Well, I owe money to the bank. My girl left me. I haven't eaten any food. I'm dehydrated. I just did an 8-ball like 2 nights ago and blew my paycheck. You know what I mean? Is like, so again, is if we're in these heightened states of anxiety and anger and fear and hatred and violence, it's because we're not connected with God. And so there is one who has all power. That one is God. May you find him now, right? So how do you find God now? Well, you got to pause when agitated, right? If you're just running around being agitated, God can't fit in there. Or that's self-will run riot. So again, you have to give yourself enough of a pause to let God in. And again, if you want to pray for mushroom clouds, you can go and do that. or you can pray for God to come into your heart and change your perception of reality. And the minute you do that, it changes. Okay, I can't just sit down and pray. It's not going to work. You know what you do? You just go be of service to another person. You can't be of service to another human being and be an a-hole at the same time. It just doesn't work that way. Like, to go be of service to another human being requires you to be like somewhat humble and in God's space, like fake it till you make it, right? So again, is what's being of service? I don't know, man. Go volunteer, go help someone out, go use the name tag at the cashier, go ask someone how their day is going, call someone and go that is having a rough day and go, how you doing, man? Because I'm about ready to rip someone's head off. So how are you doing? And they go, well, you know, this happened and that happened. And you're like, wow, my day's not going so bad. Again, and another simple trick is to make a gratitude list, man. Be grateful. Like, there's so much to be grateful for. And we forget that all the time. Like, literally, like, I can just be grateful for these chains around my glasses that, look at that. Isn't that like not cool? Like, they just hang there, dude. Like, let's be grateful for that, dude. I'm you know what I mean? Like, so again, as you can make it as much about whatever you want it to be about. So I that's somewhere to start. Gratitude list, being of service, pausing when agitated, that kind of stuff. And yeah, well, you got to realize that the energy field's super uptight right now, dude. So again, as the first person, if you want to stop the uptight energy field, the first person you have to look at is yourself. Why are you this way? And you'll find the reason why, and you'll be like, it's easier to be mad at people than to really look at the shadow inside and be like, dude, I did it again, dude. So again, pause when agitated, dude, and just let God in. There is one who has all power. That one is God. May you find him now. Just say that. Just pause and go, there is one who has all power. That one is God. May you find him now. And try to get to that now. Because that now is very, very specific. Once you really dig into it. Hungry, angry, lonely, tired. Yeah, halt. Halt, baby. Halt. Hungry, angry, lonely, tired. And you got to pull over and fix that tire. Can't keep driving on a flat. Yeah, that's true. That is so true. I mean, you can. I'll tell you. So I had this. I was off doing blow at my bro's house. This is 15 years ago before I got sober. I was doing blow over at my bro's house, and I wanted to get home. And he lived in the colony, and I was over in Sarah Retreat. So I needed to leave the colony and drive over the bridge on the PCH and get in the Sarah Retreat, dude. And I came out and got my car. It's out of my mind, right? And I popped my tire, dude, right? Like, it's like 2:00 in the morning. But I so wanted to like get back to like do what I was, my weirdness, right? So I drove the car on a flat rim, dude. My buddy's like, dude, I heard like my buddy who I was partying with, he could see the highway bridge. He's like, dude, I could hear you coming, dude. And just there were sparks shooting out of your tire, dude. So again, you can drive on a flat tire, dude, but there's just sparks, and you're just waiting to get in trouble, dude. Like, so be you can drive on a rim, dude, but that rim might start a forest fire. Trouble, dude. I made it home, dude. But my buddy was like, dude, it was the loudest, most obvious thing ever, dude. And I was prison bound, dude. So be careful how far you're willing to drive on a flat tire, man. So yeah, I've done all that stuff, dude. It's funny, I forgot about that till right now. Look, again, is that's the depravity we'll go through to deny the truth is pretty radical. I mean, it's wild what we will do to stay in that just madness, man. And that again it's a cunning, baffling, and powerful disease, this situation we're in. And we'll tell ourselves lies all day long. We will definitely lie to ourselves and abuse ourselves and do all that stuff. And how can you expect to be like super like pleased with yourself when you're busy abusing yourself? It's pretty easy to blame the outside world, but we're doing it to ourselves. I made it from Malibu to Hollywood on a flat tire drunk 4 years ago. I took all of sunset and emergency lights, and luckily rim didn't break. Yeah, dude. That's what we do, man. That's what we do. And we just keep getting it through till something really tells us we gotta stop. Something tells us we gotta stop. And I don't know what that is, dude. I don't know what is the I don't know what it is, man. I mean, I have watched so many people claim they want to get sober and they just choose not to. I mean, it's a hard thing to say because it's an allergy of the body. It's a spiritual malady, dude. It's a mental obsession, right? So did they really choose? And I think you do at a certain point. I think you do choose not to surround yourself with the tools that will help you when you don't have the ability to choose, right? Again, I go back to my own story is it's not easy getting sober, but if you want to get sober, you'll surround yourself with people and schedules and situations that will be there for you when you don't have the ability to control yourself, right? It's a cunning, baffling, and powerful. We're powerless over alcohol and our lives are unmanageable, right? Well, so our lives are unmanageable and alcohol is powerful. And so we have to surround ourselves with people that can A, keep us accountable, right? B, like be there for us just as bulwark, as just to be like, look, dude, you don't want to do that. And you have to be willing to rely on other people, man. And that's not what we do in the beginning, unless of course it's our buddies at the bar, dude, or the Coke dealer or whatever it is. So yeah, how far are you willing to go on that flat tire, dude? That's the question. How many flats are you willing to drive on, dude? And we see it all the time. I mean, that's what those high speed chases are all about, right? Those are people like some of them might not even be like alcoholics. They could just be out of their minds. Like, yeah, I'm gonna make it, dude. You're not gonna make it, dude. You might escape it for the day. You might escape it for the evening. You might escape it for years. And I think that's part of the tragedy of the cunning, baffling, powerful human mind, right? The human being, we are so crafty and survival driven and just that we apply all of this like caveman technology to eluding the capture, so to speak. Call it sobriety. Call sobriety the capture, the surrender, right? We spend so much mental and physical and just power eluding it, like dodging these instances, staying out like and getting through it, that it just prolongs this misery for years. I look at it and I go, if I hadn't been so like cunning, I would have got an extra decade of sobriety under my belt. But I was busy like outsmarting it all. I remember like I got this DUI probably, I don't know, 5 years before I got sober, right? And in California, they take your license away and you're not supposed to drive. And yeah, whatever, dude. And so I was like on that thing. I wouldn't drive at night. I would make sure that I was parked by dark. I wouldn't drive at night. I would drive all day long, dude. Beers in my the whole thing. But I was like, all right. And I was super like weird about it too. I would, before I ever got in the car, I'd make sure all my lights worked, my tags were all on. Like I knew exactly what I was up to, dude. I knew exactly what I was doing. There was no victim. Poor me. I was like, I'm ducking and weaving, dude. And I would go about my business, dude. And I would make sure that like anything that would enable me to get like caught, I would, I would check that off the list. Like I had like a checklist, like some sort of fighter pilot, like, like, and I would get in there all buckled up. I would dress all like legit looking. So if like I had to deal with you, I remember I was driving up to Big Sur once and I used to do this thing. I'd drive up to Big Sur from down here. Right. And you get past, my whole thing was once you got past San Simeon, the castle, Hearst Castle there, right at San Simeon, I would be like, I can drink now, dude. And I remember I popped the top, dude, and I'm drinking and I look in the back and there's like a highway patrol comes jamming up on me. And I was like, boom. And I hit it was back when CDs were like still, I hit number 6 or whatever that was Led Zeppelin, dude. And I was like, Led Zeppelin, my calm drinking music, dude. And I just drank and I had it dialed, dude. I didn't flinch and try to hide stuff, dude. I just flinched and I just kept driving to the county line. He turned off and so, that's the thing is like, unfortunately, we become very good at the game. And that good at the game is how crazy, bafflingly cunning we are, dude. Because I look at it and I go, I just wanted to get it over with, dude. Oh man, like how many just okay before the judge and them being like, all right, and this and that, go, okay, great, dude. Like I'll say to this point, like drinking and driving laws are way too lenient, dude. Like they didn't stop me one bit, dude. That the fines and the schools and the suspended licenses, I didn't care. I was right back at it, dude. Literally like the driving laws are they need to like literally come in and just take your car and chop off your foot or something, dude. Cause like we're alcoholics. I'm gonna go drive, dude. I didn't care. Like whatever, throw some fines at me. So what, dude? So what, dude? Like again, because like the system's like thinks that I care. I don't care. Whatever, man. I'll just get better at my game, dude. So I'm I come from that school of thought that like if you want to sit and use your brain to like duck and weave this getting sober and getting closer to God thing, you can sit out there in the weeds for decades, man, decades. Or you realize you have a problem and you just get it over with and be like, so what are we doing here? Oh, we're going to some meeting. I'm getting a commitment. I'm raising my hand. I'm talking to some people. How often you do this? Like at least once a day. All right. I write some stuff down on a piece of paper. I talk to some person like that's called a sponsor and I go help people. Like, all right. That's what I mean. Like when I got here, when I got to sobriety, I didn't question it. I'm not that dude. I'm not a dude who was like, yo, this like rad, dude. This is sick, dude. I'm fired up, dude. Like I gotta raise my hand and be like, I'm Hamish, I'm an alcoholic, dude, and go up and get some chips and the whole thing. Like sucked. But I was like, this dude that's gnarly's like, that's what we do. Are you willing to do it? And I go, well, let's see my loaded life sucked. Like it sucked being Hiroshima, Nagasaki. It sucked. So what do you got here? Like, well, this sucks too, but like, at least I don't have a hangover in the morning. And like, seem to be like not doing that anymore. Right. And that's the thing is for beginning, it's just suck replacement, dude. Like, oh, all right, well, this sucks too, but like, at least I'm not messed up sucked. You know what I mean? Like, thank you, Don Johnson. I appreciate it. Or is that Dan? Is that Dan? Dan, thank you. So again, is I think there's this big expectation of like day one, you just come out of the gates like a bright, shiny pony, dude. No, you got to deal with yourself, dude. And that's why you need a group of people surrounding. I couldn't have gotten through this all without David and Joe and Ross and that kid I tell you about who died, and my friend Matt, and all these people that I got sober with, the punker kids, dude, Dalton and McGee and Maddie and all of these dudes, like they were all there because like yeah, sleepless nights, worried about stuff. How am I going to get out of this? Yeah, that went on for a long time, dude. But look, man, I'll tell you what. Look, I'll tell you what, man. I'll tell you what. I'll get a little bit like legit, right? 13 years ago, dude, I came in a basket case. I had a broken down car. I had a skateboard and a surfboard. That's it, dude. I didn't have a place. I didn't have a home. I had a job. I was a pretty good carpenter. I had a bad attitude. I was out of my mind. I've stuck with this for 13 years, dude. I was almost 7. The first 5, the first 3 were pretty lonely, right? But I ran for city council. I got this YouTube thing up and running, dude. I went to Chile. I did a lot of cool stuff, man, but I was lonely, right? And then I became very content with myself for a couple years. I was doing my art. Chickapai, thank you. I was doing my art. I was doing all this stuff. I didn't want to be with someone else. And then my wife came into my life. She's one of us. And a new chapter of my life began like 8 years ago, right? And that began like all of a sudden I had a baby, I had a wife. I'm living up on Rainbow Mountain. House burns down. Wife wants to get a divorce. All this stuff, right? I'll tell you what, 13 years later, dude, we're about 2 days from like closing on a house. We're moving up into the mountains to live our dreams, dude. To live the dreams that I just would talk about, right? And we think that it happens overnight, like these things that we want in our lives, like in sobriety. They don't. It's taken me 13 years to get to this place, to actually be able to sit in my own reality and know it's going to be okay, dude. And yeah, like at year 9, I had to deal with my mental health issues, right? Like when I made those videos, dude, in 2018, when I was like, I suffer from, that was like the craziest stuff ever. I was suffer from depression and all that stuff. And I shut down the YouTube channel for like 3 months and like I had to deal with myself and my back went out. Remember I had that whole thing where my back didn't work for a couple years and just, I learned I can get through anything in the physical, right? As long as I stay in contact with God. And that thing that's the contact with God is like, sometimes it sucks, man. Sometimes life just blows, dude. And you're a decade into sobriety, right? Like I think I was about 9 years into sobriety when the house burned down, right? When the community burned down, right? Like that was the test, man. That was the test, dude. You guys got to realize that if you haven't been around this channel for a while, that 3.5 years ago, like everything burned down. Like my entire life, stone cold sober, burned down. Like everything gone, all of it gone, dude. Wife was like, I'm out, dude. The house is gone. My entire town burned down. It was just me, Owl, and some surfboards again, right? But I'll tell you what, dude, that was the jumping off point. that was like the beginning of what sobriety really is, because that was taking life in the face, man. That was smelling the leather, dude. That was taking life in the face, man. And it was not pleasant, and it was not pretty, and it was painful, and it was brutal, dude. But not one part of that did I ever blame anyone else. I didn't blame my wife. I didn't blame the fire. I didn't blame the fire department. I didn't blame anyone. I went to God. I went to God and I said, God, man, we're pretty far down the road. What are we doing, dude? And God's like, are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? And I go, let's do it, God. And here we are, man, like 3+ years later, man, my life's more abundant than ever, but it took losing everything in sobriety again. That's what I'll tell you, dude. Like, that's how crazy it is. Like I went from having nothing in the beginning to like gaining a rad life and then losing it all. Why did it all fall apart, dude? Well, it needed to, because I wasn't doing the work anymore, man. I started to fall back into Hiroshima and Nagasaki. I started to be discontent. I wasn't taking care of myself. That's when I had remember I had the beard going on and the whole thing. I was out of my mind, dude. Wasn't taking, my back was all jacked up, dude. It was just madness, right? And so God didn't burn my community down. God didn't make my wife decide she wanted to leave me. God didn't do any of that to me. What God did do was God stood there with me and held my hand and was like, you don't need to run, man. You can't run. You don't need to run. Getting loaded ain't going to help you. What you need to do is look at that little boy in your other hand, and you take care of that kid, man. And so, again, is if you would ask me that first day in front of the liquor store, right? That first day in front of the liquor store when Dave and Joe rescued me in front of the liquor store. If you would asked me 13 years ago, dude, you're going to become like super dedicated to AA. You're going to become an AA guy and you're going to run for city council, not once, but twice. And you're not going to win either. And you're going to become super involved in the local, and you're going to be of service. And then all of a sudden you're going to have a child at 45, dude, and it's going to change your life, dude. And you're going to do this whole thing, and you're going to have it up there. You're going to have a stepdaughter, dude, that holds the mirror up to you pretty heavily, dude. And at 9 years, at 8 years sober, you're going to realize that you suffer from mental illness, dude, that you have untreated depression, and your life's going to fall apart. And then right when that happens, dude, your entire community is going to burn down. You're going to lose every possession you have, and you're going to have nothing except your ability to turn to God and ask God to guide you through this thing. And then God's going to guide you through that thing. And then God's going to turn you into let you turn yourself into a Lego fanatic, a dad, and build a whole new life together with your wife, and heal your marriage, and do all these things. And then all of a sudden things are going to change, and you're going to be moving up into the mountains so you can grow blueberries and raise goats and build a skate park in your backyard and do all these things that you've always wanted to do, dude. And you're not going to care that you're leaving the ocean, and you're just going to have this psychic change, and you're going to be 52, but you're going to be younger than you were when you were 16, dude, because you're going to be spiritually in tune with yourself. Why? Because you picked up a phone for some dude out in New Mexico 5 days ago, and you talked to him, and he said, hey, whatever you're doing on Wednesday night helps me, dude. And you keep that your priority is being of service to other human beings, dude, and you get to keep moving forward. What's up, buddy? How'd you do, man? Good. I heard so you got a red tip on your belt, huh? Mm-hmm. Good for you, dude. Nice. Well, I'm like 10 minutes away from finishing this up, okay? Okay. And then you can tell me all about it. And so that's the deal. So yeah, it's an ass kicker in the beginning. It's literally like exchanging one suck for another, but this one suck is the seed to grow. Call
your stepdaughter and tell her that she needs to get a meeting.
Okay. And so again, don't think that there's like, you're going to, because you don't know what you want in the beginning. If you, again, going back to the beginning, if you had asked me what I want in the beginning of this journey, this 13-year journey, I would have given you some cockamamie answer, dude. Cockamamie answer. Like, I know what I wanted. I didn't know that this was what I wanted. I didn't know that ultimately I just wanted to go do what I'm about to go do, that it was going to be a whole journey to get there, and that there's nothing easy about it. But I'll tell you what, the last 6 months of my life have been as difficult as any part of my life. And you know what? I've been more content in the difficulty of it than I ever imagined I was possible, because all those other experiences were like training for this time, right? Training for this time, right? Like that fire and all that stuff was training for this time. So yeah, like, sure, Hiroshima, Nagasaki comes knocking on my door every now and then. Sure, there's days I want to go get like loaded. There's days that like, if onlys and whatever, and anger and all of that. But I'll tell you what, that dude who started this 13 years ago had no idea that this dude would be sitting here clueless. So it's worth it, man. I just want you guys to know that it's worth it. And I know the victim story. I see it all the time, and the excuses and the buts and the why and I can't. Just stop. Just stop and let's let people help you, dude. Let people help you. That's all I did. That's all I did. I just let some people help me. And I wasn't a people guy, dude. I wasn't some dude who's like, oh yeah, help me. I was super prideful. I was super self-sufficient. I was super cunning. I was super like, had my scene dialed. Like I had my scene dialed. Like I could have stayed up in the mountains doing what I was doing for another decade, dude. But I was willing to let Joe and David help me in front of a liquor store one night. And I didn't ask them why. I didn't give them a bunch of excuses. I didn't tell them I can't and and I'm sure I did, but I didn't, because I just kept showing up, man. They said, go to a meeting. I went to a meeting. They said, go get a sponsor. I got a sponsor. They said, write some stuff down on a piece of paper. I wrote some stuff down on a piece of paper. They said, go pick up the phone. I went and picked up the phone. They said, there's a car waiting for you down at the dealership. Just go pick it up. And I didn't. So I sat at a bus stop for 6 months until I was like, oh, okay, those dudes weren't BSing me on that either. Like David and Joe never did anything but help me. They didn't ask for anything, dude. They never asked me for anything. Like Joe's passed away like gracefully and beautifully, and David's still out there. Like David, man, like dude never asked me for a thing, man. Guy didn't come to me with some bill and be like, I gave you your life back, like you owe. No, dude. He just was like, do what I do when you get the chance, man. Just be of service, dude. So it's for fun and for free, people. There's no strings attached. And just to go back, what I kind of started this out with is, don't let you thinking you need to get involved with some financial institution to get you sober is going to get you sober. That's not what's going to get you sober. It's the willingness to let people help you that will get you sober. And because I know plenty of people that have the money and get in the rehab, and they still won't let the people help them. Like imagine having all the money to go to the finest linened out, yogaed up, gourmet rehab out here on the west coast of California, and you're still not going to let people help you. So don't think that money's the answer. Don't think that rehabs are the answer and sober livings are the answer. The answer is just being willing to let some alcoholic dudes be of service and help you, dude. Like, look, I'll say it again, is I remember in the beginning, Joe looking at me and going, dude, you're doing more for me than I could ever possibly do for you. And one day you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. So it's like that dude who called me 5 days ago. He did more for me that day than I could have possibly done for him. And that's what the interesting thing of being of service is all about, man. Is it's the script flips, man. It's a weird, trippy thing. Is the people that are suffering asking the person who isn't suffering for help, or actually helping the person who isn't suffering. That's how they're not suffering, is because they're willing to help the person who's suffering, but the person who's suffering has all the information to remind them why they help people who are suffering. It's a very symbiotic thing, dude. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, please ask somebody for help out there if you're suffering, because that person that you're asking for help from needs you to ask them for help so that they can be helped too. You realize that asking someone for help is a two-way help thing, because you're adding value to their life by them giving value to your life. It's like, so again, as we wrap this up, and I know Jane, you usually come in with the 1-800 suicide number, and Kimmy comes in with the Canadian version of that number, and throw those up for me. And Ziggy Stardust 84, thank you. Al reads your book all the time, dude. That's one of his like big reading projects, so you know. And so look, wherever you are, if you're suicidal, if you're depressed, if you're alcoholic, drug addict, overeater, oversexing, whatever it is, just ask someone for help, dude. So if you're suicidal, please call the National Suicide Prevention number at 1-800-273-8255. That's in the United States, 1-800-273-8255. If you're in Canada, the Canadian Suicide Prevention line is 1-833-456-4566. The Canadian Suicide Prevention line is 1-833-456-4566. You know, we do this for the friends I lost this last couple years who killed themselves, man. You know, they're gone, dude. You don't need to. Your life matters. All of our lives matter. And it's time to just, if you're struggling and you think you can't make it, ask for help. If you're an alcoholic or a drug addict, you can type in your city AA central office, and you'll get phone numbers and meeting times and locations. There is help out there. Whatever, and I'd say that for you, if whatever your problem is, there is a 12-step program for whatever your problem is, and they're all about getting you closer to God. So with that said, thank you for allowing me to be of service and humbling me, because yeah, without you, there's no me. And I'm super grateful to be able to sit here on another Wednesday night with you all and be reminded of what a gift this life is, and what a beautiful thing it is to be sober on a Wednesday evening. And with that said, let's go out with the serenity prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Use the name tags, use the phone numbers, ask for help. And God has blessed us all. Thank you very much. Good night.